this is a white sewing machine, and we were trying to figure out how to use it. There are 3 selections up on the top left. BS, which is blind stitch. M, which we don't know what that means for, maybe just mundane. And SS, that means side stitch. So we're going to look at each of these 3 stitches, and we're going to look at different widths. We'll do a width 0 for half of the length of each line, and then we'll go to like a width of 3 or 4 for the second half of the line, so you see what the machine can do. We're going to leave the stitch length at 3 for everything. So we're going to start out, and we've got the lights on, so I know the power is there. So I'm going to do the main stitch at 0 width. Notice how the needle here is more left of center as I look at it. Then that was at width 0, length 3. So the needle is up and out. So I'm going to move my stitch width to 3. You notice maybe that needle moved to the right. Presser foot is down still. I'm going to do the next part. This is normal stitch with a width of 3. Now, I can show you this also. When you get here, you go to the end. If you want to back stitch, look, all you have to do, leave the other settings the same. I'm just going to push this button in here on the stitch length, and it's just going to go backwards, and then I'm just going to go forwards, and we'll round out this one. Needle up, and I'm going to show this to you. Okay, so this is the M stitch, 0 width, and then width of 3. Now we're going to go to, I'm just going to quick cut these lines. And then now we're going to use the second of our options. We'll start at width 0. We're going to use blind stitch. What happened there was that the needle moved right of center as I look at this. Put this down. This is going to be blind stitch. Stitch length 3, and I've got width of 0, but it's still a blind stitch. Watch. Oops. Okay. Now, what you can see, maybe if you can zoom in on that, it's just a regular straight stitch with that one blind stitch over. You use this one generally for mending nice hems. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just only going to keep it at basting stitch, or blind stitch rather, and move it to a width of 3. And this is what that will look like. And I could, if I want to, still back up. But look at this stitch. You can't even hardly notice anything. It looks to me basically just like a regular zigzag stitch. But if you look really carefully, you can see every once in a while one of those stitches that is just a little bit more defined. So I'm going to trim this, and then we're going to do our third and final set of stitches so you can see. Again, this is a white sewing machine. It's like great grandma's machine, so we had to learn this on our own. So now, needle is in the up position. We're going to go to SS, which, oops, you're okay, baby, which that is a side stitch. This is kind of noisy. This is a cool stitch. And we're going to put the width at 0. This is awesome. It seems to take longer. And what it's doing, you might not be able to see it all that well. This is doing 2 small stitches side by side. With the needle up, I'm going to change it now because I want you to see a few things here. I'm going to move this to a width of 3. Presser foot's down, needles up. And what I'm going to do is start again. So side stitch with a width of 3. This is basically a zigzag sewing machine. So when I change the width, that's going to be the width of the zigzag, but it went back, and this is a double stitch. So I'm going to bring the needle up, and I'm going to do one thing with this one that we didn't do before. I'm going to change the stitch length now. So presser foot down, needle up, and we'll start this with a side stitch with a full width of 5, and I'm going with the longest stitch length of 5 also. And it's loud because this is doing a lot of work. Look at what it's doing there. That is so cool. This is basically a zigzag machine. Again, from here, no matter which one of these we choose, we can always use the the backward option there and have it lock. Okay.
One other thing we noticed, the button thing, it just works better if it's always off when you're not doing buttons.
Oh, this button. Yeah. This has a control on here for doing buttonholes, which is cool, but thank you for saying that. We just put that baby off and life was so much better. Have fun sewing, zigzag.